Thank you, Robert. So right from that sadness, right on into loneliness and depression. There we go. So, okay. Loneliness and depression. Not an exciting topic, but a topic that I hear from everybody is it's a daily battle for a lot of us here. I struggled between, I wasn't sure if loneliness or that other wonderful emotion of anger was going to be next. And 100% of the people I talked with said, can you talk about loneliness and depression? When 100% of the people are saying loneliness and depression, I'm understanding that I'm going to be talking about loneliness and depression. And I'm glad, because loneliness and depression, along with that guilt and shame, are things that will derail us fast. These caused me to stay in this endless spiral of drinking, shame, guilt, drinking, shame, guilt, drinking, shame, guilt. And then I'm very lonely and alone, and I'm isolated, which becomes depression, which becomes more drinking. You know the idea. I think most of you here have been in that awful loop. So loneliness. David describes it. He experienced this in Psalm 142. David, the king, David, wasn't always living in a palace. In fact, he was hiding in a cave when he wrote this, literally hiding, trying to save his life. And he says, look right and look left. There's not a soul who cares what happens. I'm up against the wall and there's no exit. It's just me and I'm all alone. I cry out, God, I call out to you. You're my last chance, my only hope for life. I think we've all been in a cave. May not have been a literal cave, but I think we've all been in there hiding, saying, I've got nobody. Where are they? It's just me. Everybody's after me. And we can be in that cave for a lot of different reasons. For some of us, there is just a loneliness in our addictions. We may be using with people, but is it connecting with people or is it just using with people? There's a big difference in that. I can promise you the people that sat and drank with me weren't there because we were having deep, meaningful conversations about things that mattered. It becomes a superficial surface thing. And that's true in a lot of aspects. It's not just in substance use, but life itself can be such a superficial and surface thing. I started realizing that when I recognized that this feeling I so often had was a longing for something meaningful, like something that matters. Like I'm sick of talking about the weather. You know, how you had a great day at the beach. I mean, that's good. I want to hear those things. But I wanted more, like the real kind of things. When I was in my drinking era, I wasn't getting any of that. Those things weren't happening, but my longing for it never went anywhere. So you drink that feeling away, and pretty soon I'm in a cave of my own making, feeling like I'm the only one on the planet that even knows that I'm alive and breathing, because nobody else cares, right? Where are they? Some things that put us there are things that we've perhaps chosen to do. Other things happen that put you in loneliness that weren't your choosing. But it doesn't change the fact that we're still sitting in that cave, all alone, calling out, trying to find relief in so many ways. And it's far more, though, than being alone. Because I know that it's true in my life that my most alone feelings aren't when I'm physically by myself. The most alone feeling in the entire world is when you're surrounded by people and you feel unseen, unheard, and disconnected. That to me was the worst. You might not have seen it by my face, because I'm out with a crowd, this is social. But really underneath it, nobody there knows me. Nobody. They have no idea about my struggles, no idea about my reality. They're only there for the social drinking thing or the superficial thing, the stuff that doesn't matter. How many of us have felt that? How many of you have felt in a group and felt so out of place? Like, what is it? There isn't anything wrong with you. Nothing. But what is it that leaves us feeling that way? Why that disconnect? It's because it's surface. Because it's superficial. Because nothing's gone deeper. Nothing under the surface, but it drives us to look for it. We don't want to feel lonely. We want connection. I'm going to tell you, some of you, maybe you'll squirm a little bit. Some of the things we touch on in our drive to get over loneliness might be topics that deal into the relationship realm. And we're just going to talk about some things because some of the things that we seek out actually cause us more harm and more disconnect and more loneliness than we think that it does. So I promise you, we're going to go there. I'm not afraid to have some uncomfortable conversations because I love you and I care about you. Because I have learned some things in my life. I've learned some things. A lot of us in our loneliness, we think we know what's going to help. For me, the number one thing that I thought would help, got to be in a relationship with somebody, because then it's going to be so much better. Anybody going to get ready to squirm now? You know, Dave, don't you? Yes, over and over and over. And I say this because I understand, because I've been there and I've done it. I found myself by myself, lonely, things are hard, not sure what to do, but finding a relationship's going to make it all better. It's going to fix it, and then I'm not going to feel this way. That worked out so well for me. So good. Robert is not my first husband.
No.
Things went so well for me when I decided that choosing another man to be in a relationship with is going to make my life better. So we bypass some things quite often. And remember, I'm not judging you because a lot of this I'm talking about myself. We often grab the first thing that comes along. This'll do. You remember the big red carnival flags? Well, somehow we don't see those anymore. It's fine. They might even be pink. I don't even think they're red. And pink is a cheerful color, right? Pink is good. It's the red ones that are bad. Or, oh, those flags aren't quite that big. That'll be all right. Or like me, I'm not worthy of better anyways. So it's funny until it isn't. Because those relationships were entered into because of, let's just say it, hormones and physical desire. Let's call it what it is. If your relationship, especially for those of us in recovery, If your relationship starts in the bedroom, you've missed the foundation. If you disagree with me, you can say so. You won't hurt my feelings, but you're not going to change my mind. It's not going to start there. I don't care how much you thought it was amazing. Yep, went there too. It doesn't start there. Because guess what? The next day, there's real life on your doorstep. Who is that person? How do they complement your life? How do they add and enrich your life in the good ways? How do they support you? What are their interests, their goals, their drives? What does their ideal relationship look like? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, really? Huh. Okay. Are those things important to you? Do you want a relationship? Or do you want some temporary company? Temporary company leads to more of this. I promise you. If you don't think so, feel free to try it and then come back and tell me that I'm right. And I hope you don't, because it's awful. I think we forget in this society that the hookup culture doesn't have to mean anything. Does? It does. Intimacy is a gift. It hurts my heart that I thought so little of myself, that I thought so little of my value, that I didn't see myself the way God sees me, that I settled for giant, huge, circus tent-sized red flags. Because it's just me. Who am I to think I'm going to have a great relationship? So I will love enough and care enough for both of us in this relationship, because that works out really well. You know, you're all in, you think. You don't even know what you're all in for, but I'm all in. Don't quite know them, but I'll figure out who they are along the way. This is great. Look at them. They're so cute. Isn't she beautiful? This is it. This is it. Oh, I see it all the time now, and I'm like, we're not a dating club. But it's because I love you. Because now I know what relationship is, and even more so, I know what it's not. The real thing is worth waiting a little bit for. But what if I miss it? What if he just walks right by and I missed it? Newsflash time, you won't. Who God intends for you will be in your life. You are not going to miss the one. I'm telling you, if you knew what it took for that man's path to cross with mine, tell me that God didn't bring him into my life. There's no other explanation. I'll give you the condensed version. I'm at 8.5 years older. Heidi doesn't date younger men. So that would have been that. He grew up on a farm in Clarksville. I grew up in Hudsonville. Would never have crossed paths. They were Christian Reform. I was Protestant Reform. My church says they're wicked. You will never date them. Horrible heathen CRCs. Robert, from what I heard, dabbled a bit in drugs and fraud. There was some cross-country journeys and adventures in his life that brought him everywhere. I've always been in Michigan and drank. Had my kids. He had his kids. He gets out of prison, ends up coming back here. The thing that brought us together and caused our paths to cross, can I share with you that, yes, I've done a number of running events. I've got multiple 25Ks, I've got multiple half marathons. I've done them. I hate to run. I hate it. I hated everything about it. I didn't like the training. I didn't like the this. I didn't like the that. So you're going, well, why were you running? Well, there's a good question. Because I had this foolish notion that I was going to make a list of things to check off in a certain milestone year. And I was looking at this list thinking, but this is all fun stuff. I should have something on there that I would really hate to do. Running. So that's how I ended up starting running. How it ended up going into half marathons and stuff, I don't know, because I thought it was going to be, I'm just going to do a 5K, retire those shoes and say, have at it. And it didn't go that way, because not only did I start out in my first event ever was a half marathon, 13 weeks after I started running, they said I could do it, and I'm like, okay. I didn't even know how long that was, but I did it. And then I don't even know why. I applied to be an ambassador for the Amway Riverbank Run. I hate to run. Did I tell you that? I don't enjoy it. So now here I am, and I have to interview all kinds of people who want to be on this team. This is a big deal. They throw all kinds of cool stuff at you. You get great shoes. You get to be, in the community, doing the run, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm the only one I think they interviewed that I'm like, I really don't know how to run. I don't know how to train. I've never done this before. I don't even know what the distances are. Really don't know. But they chose me. So now I'm sitting there when I find out I got in, I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm going to have to run a lot. So you have to go to all the training runs. Guess who was one of the ambassadors the year before? That would have been that guy. When you're on that team, it's almost like this family thing. You spend a lot of time together. You train together. You're representing together. It's where I met him. And I can tell you, you want to know when you found the one? The first conversation I had with him, and I'm not talking just, oh, hi, how you doing, and walk on by, not that one, but just a little bit of conversation happened. And I can remember walking away, and I didn't understand it, but I'm like, I feel like my life just changed. And I had no idea what that meant. So if you don't feel that way about somebody you've met, and I'm not talking about in that hormonal, physical way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in deep, where it counts. If you don't feel like, I think my life changed, wait for that one. Wait for that one. And I am almost willing to beg you to, because I know what the destruction of not waiting patiently on God did in my life. It was horrible. Horrible. I was a really awful picker. Really awful picker. Until I said, I'm all done. Yeah, I know you're laughing. I have stories for days. I just it doesn't even seem like that was me, because the me now would never do that. I'm telling you, I understand loneliness. I understand it in a way you may not understand. I get it. I get it. But a quick fix, physical solution is only going to lead to more. Hookup culture ain't great. It isn't. It's cheap, it's shallow, and it's superficial. And I'm not judging you. I'm just saying plain facts. I have talked to a number of women because I've been trying to prepare for talking about some of these things. And I've just asked them, and we've had conversations about this. I'm not a guy, so I don't know from the guy's perspective, but I can tell you every single woman said that after encounters like that, it left her feeling completely cheap, used, and worthless. So men, is that what your intention was? To make us feel cheap, worthless, and with no value whatsoever, just a useless piece of something for my pleasure? Is that what we are? But women, we can't use men either, because I see that all the time. Oh, he might have some money he'll give me. He might do this, he might do that. It'll be protection and a roof over my head maybe, and I'm guilty of that. I was so afraid, like, how am I gonna make this? I just wanna be secure and have a roof over my head. So I'll ignore the big carnival red flags. That's okay, because at least I have a place to live. At what cost? I could talk all day what that cost my soul.
100% different when somebody loves your soul, not just your body.
Amen. It's all the difference. Because if you think the quick fix stuff is good, you ain't seen nothing yet. You don't even know. I'm starting to. Because all of a sudden I'm like, I have that forever thing. I have what God put together. Boring? Not one single moment. Not have you met them? So. But when you find your person, it's amazing. And here's what I'm going to say now, though. What I wish that I had known before was how much better I would have felt and how much happier I would have been if I would have lived as a single person. If I would have taken the time to get comfortable in that role and in those shoes, where I would have enjoyed that time of growth and learning and opportunity, where I would find out exactly who I am, and more importantly, who I am not. Because when you get that foundation, you're not going to let people waltz in and out of, I was going to say your life, but I'm going to say in and out of your bedroom. And I'm going there because it's one of the number one things I sit with and talk with people about behind the scenes. It's not judgment. My heart hurts. My heart hurts because every single person sitting in this space is unique and special and amazing and a gift. Not secondhand used goods. And I don't care where you've been or what you've done. You are worthy of somebody taking time to get to know you. You are worthy of people not pressuring you, pushing you, or trying to take from you. And it is my hope that maybe a little something in anybody that needs to hear it, that a light will come on that will say, I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. I know that my goals for a relationship are what my life needs. And I'm not going to lower that to fit the next one that comes along. Recovery is a difficult thing. Why do we throw useless, temporary little flings into the mix that leave emotions wrecked? Because it does. Hookup culture isn't as frivolous as it sounds. It is so damaging and destructive because you don't feel like you have a lot of value when somebody sees you as easy pickings. Truth ain't pretty to hear, but this is the reality in life because we crave to not feel lonely. So depression, Depression is often hot on the heels.
Barley. The depression.
We've been practicing that all week. Good job. Yeah, she is feeling so low. Have you ever felt like this? I felt like that. So. Oh, dog, I love you. Okay, Psalm 38 again from David. Here, shall we help you back in? Let's go. Back it up. Come on. There. Even my dog gets broken sometime. Oh, in the verse, this is great. And now I'm flat on my face. Just Marley showed you. Feeling sorry for myself morning to night. All of my insides are on fire and my body is a wreck. I'm on my last legs and I've had it. My life is a vomit of groans. Does anybody here identify at all with that? Those feelings when you're sitting by yourself, all alone in the dark, back home. We are created beings, and that loneliness that seems to fill us at times leaves us depressed, which leads us to isolation, which leads to loneliness, which leads to depressed, which leads to isolation. It's a vicious circle. But this created being that we are is searching. And we often think it's going to be the next human that comes into our life that looks appealing or group or whatever it may be. But at the core of it, it isn't. It's God. We are always longing for our Creator, which makes complete sense. He breathed life into us. We are part of Him, designed by Him, uniquely gifted by Him, loved by Him. But when we're living life trying to find all those things in another human being, here's the other news flash. All that searching you're doing, trying to fill that loneliness with someone else, it will never, ever feel different. Ever. Oh, but I landed that one. It wasn't a quick thing. Oh, is it a good and healthy relationship and are you happy? Well, no, not really. We're working on it. Well, you've been together less than 6 months. I mean, how bad did it get? And what is that telling you? Why are you there? Why do we stay in things so not meant for us? Because we do know when something isn't meant for us. The isolation is one of the best tools that Satan has. It works so well because he's got our undivided attention and our thoughts can start. I'm worthless. I have no meaning. That's why nobody's here. Nobody cares. Why doesn't anybody love me? Oh, I'm not worthy of that because I failed. Because I drank for 40 years. Because I failed at times as a mother badly. Because I disappointed my family. Because I let my friends down. Because I ruined a marriage. Because I. There's a million things that we can all fill into this. So that voice up here, it gets really loud, for me at least. It got so loud. You don't matter, Heidi. Who do you think you are? I didn't have to sit and try to think about the things that I did wrong because it was on replay in my head all the time. I didn't have to go searching for it. That's what I was running from. The knowledge of how far off base I had gotten it, of choices that I'd made that in the light of day and without the alcohol fueling it, I am horrified, mortified, and so ashamed. So ashamed. Do you know, I'm sure you do, how hard is it to live a life as two different people? That's hard stuff. I was a chameleon. You could put me in any group of people and I blended in. Why? Because I learned to read people and figure out how I have to act and behave here. I have been on boards and interacted with some highfalutin people at some times in my life. I can clean up pretty well. I can carry myself, and apparently they thought I was a professional because I don't know how else I ended up there. That happens to me a lot. I don't always know how I end up where I am. But there I am, everybody thinking I fit in. I've also belonged to a biker club. I have an endorsement. I have my own Harley. I got into that. I have all this stuff. I can look like a biker chick too. I can pull that off. Everybody was convinced of that too in that circle. The mom thing, doing the school trips and stuff, I was great. They always asked me to be field trip mom. The kids love you. You're so much fun. So I did that role too, but I'm doing all of those at the same time. Every single one. Do you know who knew Heidi? Nobody. Nobody. Because who was I? I didn't know. I didn't know, but I'm like, if I try to fit in here, then I'll be accepted here. And I'm going to fit in here, and then I'm going to be accepted here. And that's going to feel good, and I won't be lonely. And I'm going to have all these friends. But you're not going to have friendships if you're never known. And at my core, if there's one thing I could share about me, I'm not always one who wants to fill all my time with superficial nonsense. I really like good, meaty conversations about real things. Suggest that maybe. This came to mind. You meet somebody, gonna go out on a date, try to engage in meaningful conversations. If it goes nowhere, call it done. Call it done. Like, oh, I didn't come here to talk to you about important stuff. When are we gonna go back to your house? Come back to my house. Run. You're worth the conversation. I think human beings were created for meaningful connection. Does this make sense at all to anybody here? Meaningful connection, because the absence of that is this. Do you know how often I sat like this? Even in my own home, in a corner, often pleading, God, can I just be gone? Please, can I just be gone? Because I was still at war in my head about the whole suicide is really bad and you can't do that. So, but God, if you could just dump like a big old wreck or maybe a fireball on my house or some horrific accident, because at least it's okay to go that way, but please, can I just be done? We have all kinds of examples in the Bible of people that experience loneliness. We know David did. He was hiding in a cave and he was supposed to be the king. I am certain young David, as he's anointed and all like, oh, I'm going to be the king. He probably practiced kingly walks out in the field as he's tending to the flocks. And you know how kids are. You know, they're going to get excited. He wasn't done growing up. I'm sure he didn't envision he was going to have to run to try and save his life. I didn't think he envisioned he was going to be in a cave hiding, thinking it's going to be real hard to be king if I'm dead. Like, maybe I got something wrong. The Bible is filled with human beings who lived a story that is shared with us to learn from. And there's a number of them. Talk about loneliness. Think about Adam and Eve and everything they had, the absolute connection to God. everything, close, personal thing. And in one fell swoop, that was taken from them. Do you think they experienced loneliness and isolation and depression? To suddenly go from perfection to the full weight of their decision? That's where it first started. Separated from God, that would be loneliness. How about Noah? Oh, but God put him in that big old boat with all the animals, you know, the cute things we see, the little bobbing thing with like elephants and giraffes looking over the edge like this is the greatest ride of our life. I'm sure it was a traumatizing, terrifying ride. But can you imagine when that family comes out of there and they look around and literally there is nobody else but you? Can you imagine, Robert, you're looking around, you're like, I only have my wife to talk to for the rest of my life. I mean, that's all there is. But like he suffered the loss of so many. He knew the people he lived with. It was relatives and family members. It was his neighbors, people he'd grown up with, educated with. He knew how they died. I would think that's some loneliness and isolation on everyone's behalf. What about Job? God actually allowed everything to be taken. His businesses, his servants, his flocks, his health, his children, 10 of them. 10. And he's left suffering in a corner. If you don't think that's some isolation and suffering and depression, I can't even imagine. Robert had a small taste of loss. I can't imagine. We have Paul, saved from the life he was living as Saul, persecuting and killing Christians, to now being one of the most vocal supporters and teachers, and guess where that put him? In prison. Prison it's not fun now, but I promise you, it wasn't fun then. I would dare say they would prefer the conditions of prison as we have them now than then, but that's where he was. Do you think he didn't have times of loneliness and isolation and depression? And then what about Jesus? Jesus, just before he's being crucified, asks one thing. One thing as he's trying to prepare. Because don't forget, he was also fully human. It wasn't a simple thing for him to say, I'm going to the cross and I can't wait, bring it. If you don't think Jesus warred with human emotions, I think we'd be wrong to think that. Especially when you know things the way that he did. And all he asked as he was going to take some time to pray was, please stay awake and pray with me. It's all he asked. Did that happen? No. He walked away after that agonizing suffering to find him sleeping. Do you think that doesn't feel like loneliness? It got worse for him, though. He got hung on that cross. There's a lot of people around. These were spectator events at the time. Whole families came to watch crucifixions. We don't do that here. That will never be an event. But that was the norm. It was very visible. They weren't way off in this remote area. They literally were by busy roadways. It was a very visible execution of agonizing suffering. And the reason for it is so they could be mocked and ridiculed and humiliated even more as people walked by. And that's what he was preparing for. But hanging up there, if we want the greatest example of loneliness ever displayed, What did he call out? My God, why have you forsaken me? God couldn't stay present with him to pay that price. So if we think we've experienced loneliness, we haven't experienced it like that. And he hung there. It visualized rejection by both earth and heaven. And boy, did he experience that there. Rejected by all of them. He could have just simply asked God, send me the angels, and they would have come. But he didn't. He didn't. Thank you, Jesus. But that you don't matter, let's call it what it is. It's garbage. It's garbage. You do matter. You matter so much more than your human brain could ever comprehend. I understand loneliness. I understand depression. I understand isolation. I still battle it. I still feel profoundly lonely at times, and you know how many people surround me. It's not a lack on anybody's part, trust me. Everybody is amazing and wonderful and so good to me. I have never felt more loved in my entire life. But I experience moments of it. An example would be yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, I was at a funeral. My best friend's father-in-law died. So I was at that funeral. And I was glad to be there to support her because I love her dearly. She's like a sister to me. What I wasn't prepared for is to be so fully impacted by a wave of loneliness listening to this service as I heard people talking with great love about family relationships and the loss of a parent and how much they were going to miss them and all the things they'd done and the family interactions. And I had to remove myself, and I just sobbed because I just lost my mom and I didn't get to go to a funeral. I don't have those relationships. And I found myself during that funeral just grieving and experiencing such a feeling of loneliness as I got hit with the knowledge that I don't have a family to go to, not blood family. And that's where that train of thought started coming back the other way. I may not have that in my blood family, but God is more than restored to me family. I have so many people in my life that love me so much better than the family I was born into. I have brothers and sisters. I have two of the most beautiful older women who I think would battle to the death trying to lay claim to the name Mama in my life. One lives in Texas and one is here, and both of them pour love into me the way a mother would. Thank you, God. Because it was crazy how they crossed paths with me too. They're not related to me in any way, shape, or form. I say this because I want you to hear me. God knows you. He knows your loneliness because he created us for community. So that loneliness you so often battle with, try leaning into community. Try not to find a person to solve it for you because a person never will. If you are looking to somebody to make your life better, don't be so unfair to them. People can't do that for you. Nobody will come in your life and make your life better. They will accent your life. They will season your life. And I can tell you there's something about seasoning. You put the wrong seasoning in your dish, nobody's going to want to eat it. It's not going to be good. It isn't going to be good. And you might say, oh, but it's okay, I can eat a plate of it. I can tell you, you're not going to want to keep eating that same gross, yucky, wrongly spiced life.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it. If you want the forever thing, if that's what you want, get right with yourself first. If you never find it comfortable being alone with yourself, living life, you may not be well prepared for relationship because you cannot ask somebody else to fill in those areas you're not quite ready to address. Matthew 11. Jesus, are you tired? Are you worn out? Are you burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me, and watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. If you are living in the will of God, and you are following His plan for your life, He said it right there. My God is a God who keeps promises. He will not put anything ill-fitting in your life. Think about that in relationship terms. How often do we put up with less than or not right for us? If at the very core it's somebody that doesn't share your values, it's ill-fitting. And Jesus said, I will never put that on you. Not to make you suffer, because God is not saying, I like you to be lonely. I'm going to keep you lonely. Why would He do that when He loves you so much? He's simply saying, can you trust me? Can you trust the plan I have for your life? Can you trust me to bring into it what and who I have waiting for you? It says in the Bible that being single is actually a gift, but many are not able to live a single life. But it says that. Why? Because there's not distractions. Because I'm telling you, relationships, for those of us who have them, they are work. You don't just say, oh, there's my person and everything is great. Because if you aren't, yeah, I know everybody's laughing. It's like, am I wrong? So it is work, but it's intentional work in relationship. There is a freedom that you have in singleness that people that are married do not have. And it's not bad. It isn't bad. So what are you lonely for? At the heart of it, we know it's God. You know, it's that longing. But when it comes to humanly speaking, if you believe God and you have faith in God, what is it? Do we want good, authentic relationship? Or do we want a weekend? So we can say, well, I have somebody. You want to meet? I don't know what his middle name is. I'm not sure. Oh, where did you grow up? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yep, it's my boyfriend. Like, what do you know about your boyfriend or your girl? What do you really know? Don't know a middle name, don't know where they're from. Do they have brothers and sisters? Did they go to school? Did they? No, but we both did math. Okay, well, there's some common ground, you know? We like having some drinks together. Okay, okay. Those are a dime a dozen, right? If you want just simple, casual, no strings attached, flings, hookups, that kind of relationship, they are a dime a dozen. Dime a dozen. I'm sitting here old, gray hair, almost 60. I'm a grandma. And guess what? Still a dime a dozen. Be easy peasy. If that's what I wanted, easy. After 11 at the bar, it gets real easy. Real easy. Yeah, everybody starts looking better than they did earlier in the night. Yeah, we all know, those of us that know. The next day, you're like, oh, boy. It's not good. It's awful, and it takes a piece of you. A piece of you dies every time. It does. I don't care what you tell yourself. It does. Why? That's God saying, but you're mine and you're worth so much more than that. Why do you treat yourself like you are a broken, damaged item all covered with dust in the bargain bin? Just hoping, well, maybe somebody will choose me. Maybe. I'll do anything. I'll do everything. I'll give you all my money. I'll make sure I do this. You shouldn't have to do that in relationship. I know a lot of people don't like hearing this because, man, just want to date and this one and that one. I don't want any of the strings or any of this stuff. I'm not going to stop you. I won't. I'm going to feel bad for you because I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to make you feel more lonely. I know it's going to cause more depression. I know it's going to cause more isolation. And He's a solution. God is a solution. I pray that the ones that are feeling so overwhelmingly lonely or battling with depression are hearing something that lets them know how loved you are, what a treasure and a gift to this world you are, how precious you are. You've got so many gifts and talents to offer this world. And it's my prayer that we become so sure of that in our life, that when we look in the mirror, we're saying, this is what God sees. This is what God sees. You look at things a little bit different when you recognize who something belongs to. Things that belong to God are deserving of being treated as if they belong to God. That's how much value we have. God wasn't absent in my loneliness, and He is not absent in your loneliness. He's right here. He's right here. He's right there. You aren't alone. He made promises. We sing that song a lot, you know, he hears. And what does he do? He answers. Don't reserve them just for the bad times. Just when life is struggling, it's like, oh, that's right. I got my solution in my back pocket. I'm going to pull God out right now. Things are a little rough. Don't like it. So here, God, fix this so I can go back to this. And then we forget God. I forgot God a lot in the bar. Oh, I didn't pull God out of my back pocket in the bar, or very often in life, because that brought me more guilt. But now in my life, I don't put him in my pocket. I don't reserve God just for when times are bad. I celebrate with him every day now because of awareness, because of understanding, because some days are really hard and he's now the first one I go to, because I'm not looking at him sitting over there to make everything better in my life. I bring it to the one who I know can. And I trust him. And that's what it comes down to. We say we believe. We say we love you, Jesus. We need to live that way. In relationship or not in relationship. In relationship, don't go around miserable, griping and moaning about all the things you don't like about your partner, especially to other people. Don't put those things out there. If you're not in relationship, don't be boo-hooing and feeling so horrible that I'm the only one that doesn't have anybody. Because I can tell you that's not the case. I know a lot of people not in relationship. Many of them are doing amazingly well and they're thriving. And when and if their time comes, because for some, God calls a calling on your life that is singleness. And that isn't a punishment and it is not a penalty. It's because God sees something in you that he can call you to that difficult path. And he will bless it and it will be full and beautiful and amazing. But for many, there will be somebody. But wait for the one he has. That's all. Just wait for that one. Wait for the people that God has for you. You know, it's not just a quick temporary relationship that's a dime a dozen. So are people. You know, those friends. Do they want the same thing that you do? Because if they don't, oh, there's going to be depression and loneliness. Because you won't escape that battle. Sorry to tell you that. It will continue. Because that's our human nature, because we belong to God, even if you haven't claimed him. This is just so weird because none of this was anything I had written down. None of it. Absolutely none of it. I'm glad that this topic was brought up, though, because I've sat with so many people that I know are just grieving and suffering, and they're so lonely because they're longing for connection. I know that I can't be everything to anybody. Nobody can be everything to anybody. But as a community, do you know what that is to somebody? Because I know what you are to me. I know on my worst, hard, lonely days when I'm like, I can't go see my dad. I can't go to my siblings' homes. I can't see my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, none of them. Not welcome. On those days when it hits home, I get to come home because I've got people here that I know they love me. Whether I'm having a great day or even more, they love me on my really hard days. Find those communities when you're searching. Come here. Don't fill it with things that are just going to take more from you. And that means don't be someone that would ask that of somebody. Don't be a taker simply because it's my pleasure to do so. Don't use people. Be honest and upfront. Be who you are and don't sacrifice or compromise that to have something. Be authentic and genuine. Be transparent. And if someone doesn't like you're transparent, that's an ill-fitting thing. God didn't intend that for you. Because the one meant for you, the community meant for you, won't be uncomfortable with you being transparent. That man doesn't flinch as I shared everything about myself with him. Nobody on this earth knows more about me humanly than that man right there. Because from the get-go, I wanted him to know, because I fully expected, because you're going to leave too. Came closer. He just came closer. That's when it's real. And that's when it's good. It's not lost on me, and this is not a bragging thing. I promise you it is not. Robert and I hear often from people, oh, your relationship goals. Please don't put us on that pedestal. That is a scary thing to be. I don't want to be anybody's relationship goals because I'm not you and you're not me. And they aren't Robert and Robert aren't them. We come with our own unique stories and experiences. We have an amazing and beautiful thing. He is my best friend. I am blessed. But it came after a lot of heartbreak. And it came after humbling myself and getting out of the way and full out saying, I'm done looking. I'm all done. God brought him in my life. And then I'm like, I'm telling you everything because you'll just leave. Let's get this out of the way because I'm not doing this again. That didn't happen. The opposite happened. It's worth waiting for. God, he understands and he's there. Bring it to him. It's not a surprise. He already knows you're lonely and he already knows you're depressed and he's not punishing you. He's not keeping you from happiness and joy. I promise you. He is not. He's saying, look at me, please. Just look at me. Look at me and trust me. Just trust me. If you can tell me once where he has failed, I will say you can trust yourself then, but he hasn't. There's always been an answer. But sometimes we have to wait. And it's in the waiting that your faith gets built. It's in the waiting where your foundation gets made. We talked about what happens if you don't put that under your life. The first storm, it's gone. Nothing without a foundation lasts. Not one single person I've talked to that talked to me about loneliness or what it feels to try dating right now has ever told me that, well, I don't want the forever thing. Every single person wants that forever thing. We need to live like that's what we're expecting then. Don't just use people as filler until the right one comes along. Why would you do that? Why do we do that? It doesn't help the loneliness, it makes it worse. Be your authentic self. Be exactly who you are as you're created to be, because when I start getting to meet that part of people, that's my favorite version. I love when people share the real with me. That's an honored place to be. And I love it. So please be real and authentic to who you are. And hand it to him. You will recover your life. If that's what you're looking for, he told you the answer. So just come back to Jesus. You'll have a guaranteed best friend. You will be loved beyond anything you could ever even possibly imagine. And you will finally understand how much meaning your life has right now. I hope something in this was what somebody needed to hear, because I am like, what about what I was going to say? But doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just pray for anybody that's hurting right now that maybe something helped. If it didn't, bring it to God. Leave it here. He understands. Bring it to one of us. We're here to listen. We know it's hard. Most of us in this room have been there, done that, experienced it. Get it. We really get it. I don't want anybody to suffer. I just know the one that can make it all better. Thank you for being here. We are going to close with one final song, and then I will pray us out of here to the food part of the day. And I can't wait to see the crafts that the kids made. They're so cute. I'm going to make one.